Okay, yeah, I definitely didn't expect myself to be emotionally invested in a Godzilla movie. This is definitely a first. How's it going, everyone? Welcome to Flicking Things. My name is Daniel, and today I'm going to be reviewing Godzilla Minus One. Growing up, I've always been a big Godzilla fan. Throughout the years, I've always, been intrigued by it. I've always been a fan of kaiju movies, and I know a lot of people are more familiar with the Godzilla, the iterations that are over here in America. But some of you may not know there's actually been a ton of Godzilla movies, in Japan, and there's been many iterations. And yeah, what you just saw is in fact a real Godzilla movie made in Japan. And you know what? I enjoy it. I don't care. I don't care what people say. I enjoy those ones. Some of them are silly, some of them are a little bit more serious tone, but I don't care. But over the years, my fandom has kind of died down. I more so follow the American, the ones over here in the States, the iterations of Godzilla. So I haven't been really too familiar with the more recent ones of the Japan iterations, like Shin Godzilla, and then like Godzilla 2000 Millennium or whatever it's called. So when this movie I didn't know this movie was coming out. Like I think I just only found out about it last month. I was on YouTube and I was just browsing YouTube, and then all of a sudden I got a recommendation for a Godzilla movie, and I was like, oh, there's another Godzilla movie. I thought they were making Godzilla X Kong or whatever it's called. So they're making two of them, and then I checked the trailer and I realized that it's a Japanese movie, and I gotta tell you, it looked really good. I was like, oh wow, the graphics, the special effects, and everything look pretty amazing. I'm pretty intrigued. So this past few months, I've been actually like really anticipating this movie. I've been wanting to see it, and then I heard some rumblings, some early reactions that it's actually pretty good. And I got to tell you, I kind of agree. This is actually probably one of my favorite Godzilla movies of all time. And to some, that might not be saying much because we have some pretty bad ones, especially over here in the States. Yes, I'm looking at you, Godzilla from 1998.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
This movie has shown that it's capable of making an intriguing story involving the humans and making it so compelling where you almost kind of sometimes forget that it's a Godzilla movie, because you're so heavily invested in this story. And that's what this movie, really pulled off really well. So the story, just to get you guys, a synopsis a little bit, it does follow a character named Koshi, I believe. This is right after World War II, where he basically is a kamikaze pilot, but he basically abandons his mission. He kind of like, gets cold feet, and a lot of his peers find out. When he comes back home, a lot of his peers find out, and they kind of look upon him as like a disgrace. So he's lived with this burden, and there's an incident that happens that I don't want to give no spoilers in the beginning. Another incident, we'll say that it involves Godzilla, where he pretty much was put to the test and he fails, and now he's tacked on with this burden as well. And so when he comes back home, he has to deal with the consequences of the fallout of the war. And not only that, how people are looking at him as a disgrace because he, didn't follow his mission. And on top of that, an incident that happens at the beginning where a lot of lives were taken, and he, like I said, I'm not gonna get into spoilers, but basically, he feels like it's his fault. And so this movie is really intriguing because it really dives deep into his character and how he feels as a person, as a human being, how he failed his people. And that's what I really love about this movie, because this movie deals with it deals with grief, it deals with sorrow, hope, resilience, and overcoming, these obstacles. And this movie just has a real sense of community where you're really rooting for the humans in the story. In past Godzilla movies, I'm talking about the ones in America where basically Godzilla is kind of portrayed as a good guy. And you're kind of rooting for Godzilla. Well, not you're kind of, you actually are rooting for Godzilla because he's going up against other monsters, and he's kind of, taking out all these monsters and kind of saving the people. But this one's really different, where basically Godzilla's not like that at all. He's basically just wreaking havoc, destroying everything in its path, and he shows no remorse, no nothing. He just, he's just doesn't care. I know it sounds cliche and it sounds corny, but this Godzilla's more like, it's more treated like a metaphor, basically, where you're having to see these people come together and join forces, even though some of them, don't like certain people or whatever, certain characters in the movie, where they put away their differences and they come together as a community, and they're overcoming this obstacle, where they're overcoming this big evil, and it takes a whole community who are willing to come together and willing to just lay down their lives for their fellow brethren. And it's such a very compelling story where I found myself very emotional. I'm not gonna lie. Like I was on the brink of tears, because it deals with a lot of, like family, and just, like I said, losing loved ones and having to deal with that, and, losing people that you feel like it was your fault. And I forget, like I said, I forget how to pronounce his name, Kochi, whatever, the main character. You really connect with him, and you really understand where he's coming from, but you're also rooting for him and to overcome this burden that he has. And it was, honestly, it's the Godzilla movie that I didn't think I needed. And after I saw the movie, I was like, man, like that was really good. I didn't know I need that, because in most recent Godzilla movies, over here in America, where the human element is so bad, where it's just like, dude, I don't care about that. I just want to see monsters fighting each other, which is not bad. Like I don't get me wrong, I do enjoy the ones over here in America. Like I really do enjoy them for what they are, but I didn't realize like what we're missing or what's capable. And I'm over here in Hollywood, I'm thinking like, okay, people in Hollywood need to look at this movie and be like, this is how you tell a compelling story. And it's just something that's been missing in Hollywood lately with these blockbuster movies, where it's just all CGI fast, and there's no character development, and there's nothing we can attach to, and we can honestly like learn from. What I learned from this movie is like, if people can come together in as a community and just as one big family, that we can overcome anything. And when you look at the Japanese, like this community, where they overcame, these innocent people that were caught up in the war, they overcame the war, and now when they're faced with another burden, another obstacle, and they're able to pull it off because they understand when they come together as a community, they're stronger together. And I just thought it was just a really, really good movie. So if you're coming into this movie thinking it's like going to be another movie that, you've seen recently over here in America, this ain't it. This is more of a serious tone. It harkens back to the original 1954 Godzilla. And you can tell the filmmakers in this movie understand the genre and understand its roots, and want to harken back to those roots and show that it's possible you can make a movie that's, a homage to the original one, but also make something that's more refreshing. And where, like I said, I didn't think I needed this movie, but after walking out, I was like, wow, okay, this is pretty good. I would love to see more of these type of movies. So I do want to talk about the music. The music is great. The sound effects are great, especially when Godzilla, he, some people call it atomic breath, some people call it heat ray, but in the movie they call it heat ray, so I'm going to call it a heat ray. But yeah, so when he shoots out the heat ray, the whole theater shook. So like, I'm really excited. Hopefully it comes out in Blu-ray. I don't know how that's going to work, because, this is a Japanese movie. I don't know if it's going to be released over here. Hopefully it does. And I hope it does get in theaters, because that would be a good indication that it will be released over here in the States. And I can't wait to get it, because, I'm going to crank that up in the sound system. And when that explosion happens, it's going to shake our whole house. And I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, like I said, I really enjoyed this movie. And if you're a big fan of Godzilla and you've seen the old ones from over here in America and over here in Japan, and you really love the first one, you're definitely going to love this one. But if not, and you just prefer the ones over here in America and like all the, the fighting and the CGI stuff, then you're not gonna like this movie. I'm gonna tell you straight up, you're not gonna like it. It's nothing like that. This is a completely different type of genre, Godzilla. But like I said, I loved it. I don't care. It's one of my favorite movies of the year, and I'm looking forward to owning it on physical media. But yeah, I'm gonna give this movie a rating. Honestly, I really don't have really complaints of this movie other than the special effects. They're a little hit and miss. For the most part, they look really good, but I'm not gonna knock it for that. I mean, I understand this movie was only like 15 million. It only cost 15 million to make. If it was a high budget movie, then it would be a legit criticism and it would be warranted. But since it's only 15 million, I'm not gonna knock it for that. So yeah, I'm gonna give it 5 out of 5 Godzilla victory laps.